If you've been thinking about selling, but you keep telling yourself, maybe I should just wait until interest rates come down, or maybe my house will be worth more next year, I want you to watch this video before you make that decision. Because after 22 years of selling real estate, I've learned something very important. Waiting for a better market does not necessarily mean you'll end up in a better position. In fact, there are 3 questions I think every homeowner should answer before deciding whether to sell now or wait. And make sure you stay with me for the 3rd one, because this is the question I think most homeowners completely overlook. And depending on your answer, it could completely change whether waiting actually makes sense. I'm Vallario. I've been selling real estate for 22 years here in Maryland. And welcome to my channel, Real Estate Made Simple, where I help homeowners understand real estate without making it complicated. So let's get into it. Should you sell now or should you wait until 2027? First, stop trying to predict the perfect market. One of the things I'm hearing from homeowners right now is, Lily, shouldn't I just wait until interest rates come down? And my answer is, maybe. But I would never make that decision based on interest rates alone. Here's why. Let's say mortgage rates come down significantly. That's obviously good for buyers. Their purchasing power improves, and some buyers who've been sitting on the sidelines may finally decide to enter the market. So you might think, perfect, I'll wait until then because there will be more buyers. But there's another side of that equation. Guess who else may finally decide to move? Sellers. There are homeowners all over the country who have been holding on to very low mortgage rates and saying, there's no way I'm giving up my 3% mortgage. If rates improve enough, some of those homeowners may finally decide they're ready to sell, which means you could have more buyers, but you could also have a lot more competition. That's why I get nervous when homeowners base such an important financial decision on what they think interest rates are going to do. Because nobody knows. You can study trends. You can look at economic forecasts. You can analyze what's happening in the housing market today. But nobody can tell you with certainty what exactly rates are going to be and where rates or home prices will be in 6 months or a year from now. So instead of asking, when will the market be perfect? I want you to ask a completely different question. When does selling make sense for me? And that brings us to the first of those 3 questions. Question number 1, why do you actually want to sell? Before we talk about interest rates, before we talk about home prices, before we talk about inventory, why do you want to move? This sounds simple, but it's incredibly important. Maybe your kids have moved out and you're sitting in a 4 or 5 bedroom house thinking, why am I maintaining all of this? Maybe you're tired of the yard. Maybe you're approaching retirement and want something easier to maintain. Maybe you want to move closer to your children or grandchildren. Maybe you're relocating, or maybe you're on the opposite side of this. Your family has grown, you're completely out of space, and your current house simply doesn't work anymore. These are real reasons to move. And here's something homeowners don't always consider. Waiting has a cost too, and that cost isn't always financial. If you're unhappy in your house, if it no longer fits your lifestyle, if you're putting off something you really want to do, what is another year of waiting actually buying you? Now, sometimes waiting absolutely makes sense. I'm not suggesting everyone watching this should run out and sell their house. Not at all. But I do think your life circumstances should carry more weight than trying to perfectly time the housing market. Because after doing this for 22 years, I've seen homeowners wait for something to happen in the market and then something completely different happens. So start with your why. Then we move to the numbers. Question number 2. What would your house actually sell for today? Notice the way I phrased that. I didn't ask, what is your house worth? I asked, what would a buyer realistically pay for your house today? Those can be 2 very different conversations. And this is where I see homeowners make some expensive mistakes. Someone says, well, my neighbor sold for $750,000. Okay, but let's look closer. When did they sell? What condition was their house in? Was their kitchen renovated? Did they have a finished basement? How many bedrooms? How large was their lot? Were their, where was their lot located? Did they back to a busy road? What upgrades did they have? And here's a really important one. What competition did they have when they sold? Because sellers naturally focus on the homes that already sold. And yes, those comparable sales are extremely important. But there's another group of properties I'm paying very close attention to when I'm preparing a home for the market. The houses you're going to be competing against, because those are the choices your buyer has right now. A buyer doesn't walk into your house and say, I wonder what comparable sales from 6 months ago looked like. No. They're thinking, we saw 3 houses today. Which one do we like best? That's your competition. And this is why real estate is so incredibly local. I'm based in Maryland, and I can have 2 communities relatively close to each other behaving very differently. Even different price points within the same area can behave differently. So national housing headlines are useful for understanding the bigger picture, but they don't tell me what your house is likely to sell for. For that, I need to look at your specific market. And I'm curious about you. If you're watching because you're considering selling, tell me in the comments, are you thinking about selling in 2026, or are you leaning toward waiting until 2027? I'd love to see where everyone is right now. And if you're finding this helpful, subscribe to my channel, Real Estate Made Simple. Every week I share straightforward advice to help homeowners make smarter decisions when they're buying or selling a home. Now, we're about to get into that third question I promised you. But before we do, there's another number you need to know. And surprisingly, it's not your sales price. What would you actually walk away with? Let's say someone tells you your house could sell for $700,000. That's great, but that's not necessarily the number that matters most. What I really want my sellers to understand is, what are you going to walk away with? Because that's the number that's going to help you make your next decision. What do you currently owe on your mortgage? What are your estimated selling expenses? Are there any repairs or improvements you should make before listing? And after everything is paid, approximately how much equity are you walking away with? This is why when I'm preparing or helping a homeowner decide whether selling makes sense, I like to prepare an estimated seller net sheet. Because suddenly we're not talking hypothetically anymore. We're looking at actual numbers. Maybe you're downsizing and wondering, could I sell this house and buy something smaller with a very little mortgage, or maybe no mortgage at all? Maybe you're retiring. Maybe you're moving to another state. Maybe you need your equity to purchase the next home. Whatever your reason is, the net number matters. And sometimes homeowners are surprised. I've had people realize they have considerably more equity than they thought. And suddenly a move that seemed impossible becomes very realistic. I've also had situations where the number tells us something different. Maybe selling right now doesn't accomplish what the homeowner needs, and that's okay. Sometimes my advice is, don't sell yet. And I think that's important for homeowners to hear from a real estate agent. My job isn't to convince every homeowner I meet to put their house on the market. My job is to help them understand their options so they can make the best decision for themselves. And now we're ready for the question that I think is the most important one. Question number 3, what exactly are you waiting for? If you're saying, I'm going to wait until 2027, I want you to finish this sentence. I'm waiting because, and make your answer specific. Are you waiting for mortgage rates to reach a particular number? Are you expecting your house to appreciate another $50,000? Are you waiting for retirement, for your child to graduate, for a job change? Are you waiting because you need 6 months to prepare the house? Those are concrete answers. But if your answer is, I just think the market will be better next year, then my next question is, better how? Because this is where homeowners sometimes look at only one side of the transaction. Let's say your house appreciates another 5%. Sounds fantastic, but you're planning to buy another house. What if that house appreciates too? You didn't necessarily gain anything. Or let's say mortgage rates drop. Wonderful. But lower rates bring more buyers into the market. Competition increases and home prices rise. Did waiting actually save you money? Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. That's the point. You have to look at the entire move, not just the house you're selling. And this is why I don't believe there's one answer to, is now a good time to sell? So should you sell now or wait until 2027? Here's the answer nobody loves hearing. It depends. But it really does. For some homeowners, if I sat down with them today and looked at their situation, I might absolutely recommend waiting. Maybe financially it doesn't make sense. Maybe they need more time. Maybe their next move isn't clear yet. Maybe there are things we should do to the property first. But I could sit down with another homeowner in the exact same market and tell them you actually have a very good opportunity right now. Same interest rates, same economy, same housing headlines, different answer. Because the decision isn't just about the market. It's about your house, your equity, your competition, your next move, and most importantly, your reason for selling. So here's the 3-question test. If you're debating whether to sell now or wait until 2027, write these down. Number 1, why do I want to move? Not why the market says I should move. Why do I want to move? Number 2, what would my home realistically sell for today? And approximately, what would I walk away with? And finally, number 3, what specifically am I expecting to improve by waiting? If you can answer those 3 questions honestly, I think the decision becomes much clearer. And if you're watching this thinking, okay, Lily, but I don't actually know what my house would sell for today or what I would walk away with, that's something I can help you with. If you own a home here in Maryland and you're thinking about selling, whether that's next month, 6 months from now, or sometime in 2027, you don't have to be ready to put a sign in your yard to talk to me. Reach out to me now. I'll take a look at your property, what's happening in your specific market, what you're competing against, and what I believe your home would realistically sell for. We can also look at an estimated seller net sheet so you have a better understanding of what you may actually walk away with. And then I'll give you my opinion. If I think it makes sense to sell now, I'll tell you why. And if I think you're better off waiting, I'll tell you that too. There's no pressure. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is get the information before you're ready to make the decision. You'll find all my contact information below this video. And if you don't live in Maryland, I hope this video still helped you think through your decision. I have relationships with real estate professionals across the country, so if you need help finding the right person in your market, feel free to reach out as well. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what's the biggest thing holding you back from selling right now? Is it interest rates? Are you worried about finding your next house? Are you hoping prices go higher? Or do you simply have no idea where you would go next? I want to hear it because your questions also help me decide what videos to make next. And if this video helped you, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, Real Estate Made Simple. I've spent 22 years helping people navigate real estate, and my goal with this channel is exactly what the name says, to make real estate a little simpler. I'm Lily Vallario with eXp Realty. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.